I've told everyone this story before, but did they believe me? No. I'll try one more time. The house I live in is old. It's not a mansion or anything, just a small, weathered home in the middle of a quiet neighborhood. But that's not what matters. What matters is the thing that's been living with me for years. It all started about 5 years ago when I lost my wife, Julia. We had lived in this house for many years, and after she passed away, I couldn't bring myself to leave. I didn't want to forget her, so I stayed in the home that held all of our memories. But something else came in with her absence. One evening, after a long walk through the neighborhood, I came back home, and for the first time, I saw it, just a glimpse, but enough to send chills down my spine. The light was on in the upstairs bedroom, the one Julia and I used to share. I thought it was odd. I hadn't been in there for months. I'd kept the door shut, not because I was afraid, but because I didn't want to face the overwhelming grief that room held. But that night, something felt different. Something was wrong. I grabbed my gun, thinking it might be a burglar. But who would break into a house like mine, in a quiet neighborhood like this, and not even bother to hide? I hurried upstairs, my heart racing. I didn't know what I expected, but certainly not what I found. The bedroom door creaked as I pushed it open, and I froze. The room was exactly as it had been the day Julia died. But the light was off. There was no one in the room. The bed was untouched, and the room untouched. I stood there, shaking my head, wondering if I had imagined it. I had no explanation. But later that night, the footsteps began. Upstairs. The sound of someone walking in that same bedroom, the creaking floorboards echoing through the silence. I froze in bed, holding my breath. The sound grew louder, closer. I considered calling the police. But what would I tell them? That I heard footsteps in an empty house? That's ridiculous. And they'd never come for something like that anyway. I had no choice but to face it myself. I grabbed my gun again, and slowly, cautiously, I made my way upstairs. The house felt like it was holding its breath. The moment I opened the bedroom door, I saw it. The room was in disarray, furniture overturned, everything scattered across the floor. And standing in the doorway of the bathroom, there was something I could barely describe. It was short, deformed, like something that wasn't meant to be. Its eyes were hollow, its skin sickly and stretched, and it was staring at me with an expression I can't explain. I panicked. "Who are you? What do you want?" I shouted. That thing glided toward me, its presence heavy and suffocating. Panicking, I pulled the trigger. The bullets passed through it, slamming into the wall behind. Then it spoke. Its voice was raspy, thin, yet distinct. "This loneliness has consumed you, Michael. People like you are a feast for us. And I'm just getting started. The weaker you grow, the stronger I become." Darkness engulfed me in an instant. My vision blurred, and it felt like breathing was impossible. When I regained consciousness, I was lying on the floor. The room, which moments ago had been in disarray, was now untouched. The bullet holes in the walls had vanished. But the weight of its presence remained, heavier than ever. Over the following days, as my loneliness deepened, so did its strength. At night, the footsteps above grew louder, the whispers more vivid. "You called for me, you made me stronger." I tried calling the police several times, and they even came to the house. But everything looked normal in their presence. Too normal. They dismissed me as a madman. But I wasn't crazy. It was there. Always there. Watching me. Every night, as I lay in bed, the darkness seemed to swell. I was afraid to close my eyes because the moment I did, it grew stronger. I couldn't see it, but I could feel it. In desperation, I fled the house. I thought leaving would end it, but it followed me. It was never about the house. It was about me. I tried living among people, spending hours in crowded cafes, clinging to the noise and warmth of strangers. At first, it helped. The footsteps ceased. The whispers faded. For a fleeting moment, I thought as soon as I spent a night alone, it returned. Stronger than before. Its voice echoed in the silence. Loneliness devours you, Michael. And I grow within it. I don't know how much longer I can fight it. I'm telling you this because it's still here. Watching. Waiting. And every time I'm alone, it grows stronger. What am I doing now? Try to be with someone. Try to be not alone. I offer you do the same thing.